Phillies MVP, a.k.a. Nick Castellanos, helps lift the Phillies over those stinking Braves for a much-needed win this past weekend, a Labor Day weekend win. We're talking about the weekend series, recapping, giving injury updates, and much more today, coming up on PHLY Phillies Podcast. Some of you owe Nick Castellanos an apology. 11 RBIs in the last 8 games for Nick. BDN, as some may be referring to, the newest BDN in the city.
We're going there.
Welcome into the PHLY Phillies podcast presented by Bet365. You can download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You've got Tyler Zulli, Jamie Lynch, myself, Renee Washington.
Usually I'm the one
Happy
that's stunned.
Tuesday.
You're usually the one that's
saying.
stunned at with something I say. Today, I'm a little stunned. You busted out the BDN.
Listen.
All right.
There's a new Nick in town.
Yeah.
And Nick Castellanos is showing exactly why, for everybody that was ready to run him out, for everybody that was ready to, that was tired of Nick and complaining about him with his struggles in the start of the season. He's showing Mr. Clutch, Mr. Consistency. Nick Foles passed that nickname right on over because
he retired,
Nick Castellanos,
so another BDN could run.
When he retired, it was time for a new BDN in Philly to emerge.
To rise like a phoenix. Yes. Well.
And so we'll get into Nick Castellanos.
Tyler, she started it today. She started the wiener jokes, not me.
It's just so easy.
I want the record to state. Renee started the wiener jokes, not me.
It's just so easy for you to just jump right on that bandwagon. It doesn't take much to trigger it. But we've got to get into the weekend series. We will recap that. We will also talk through injury updates. There are some others that had big weekends. Looking at Zack Wheeler and his 100th career win. Looking at Edmundo Sosa. We'll talk Nola. We'll, of course, look ahead to the series with Tyler Phillips on the mound today to preview all that is to come in our fun 2-game series versus Toronto. So let's get right into it. K-Red, thanks for the compliment. Appreciate you. Nick Castellanos has to be...
What does that say, 90s?
90s, because 90s as a 90s vibe. Baby...
Oh, baby.
90s baby, Jamie.
I wish I could say I was a 90s baby. But,
what's the importance of me being a 90s baby?
You have a
Tyler,
birthday coming up.
Yes.
Friday?
Yeah. No.
Saturday.
Yes.
Saturday. I mean, that was pretty close. Friday, Saturday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's the weekend.
Sure.
Yes. Don't let me forget,
Saturday's my birthday.
Don't let me forget Friday.
Listen, if I don't let you forget, Renee will not let you forget. Okay. Don't you worry.
Oh, side note, I just want to knock this out from the jump because there's a lot to talk about today. Like, we have so much to get into from this weekend. But first things first, we just got to take care of some homework. Jamie, how's your fantasy team doing?
Oh, damn. Okay. I lost in the playoffs.
Woo!
Yeah, Renee moved on.
I'm moving on.
Renee did the best on the show. All right, there's your flowers.
Bro, I didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
At least you had that.
I knew I was in trouble because I looked at the week and I was only getting like one start from
well, you still have Kyle Tucker and his bad chin.
Yeah, so. Apparently it's a fractured chin.
Oh, my.
So that at least explains why Kyle Tucker missed 3 months for a shin contusion. But yeah, I had a lot of guys hurt. Woo! And congratulations on all your success.
It's been a great season for you. I've had so much fun.
You and Zach Berman, I believe, are the only two standing for fantasy baseball. So,
well, now that we got rid of that homework.
For you, Renee, now that I'm not competing.
If you want to trade some players to me.
I can't do that.
Okay. Well, let's get back to it then, since
there's a trade deadline.
Trade deadline pass.
I mean, I could release players, but then I would bring great fantasy shame to my family. I can't release players for you.
All right. Well, you know who's not bringing shame to their family? That's Nick, because the Castellanos right now are flying high. Nick Castellanos not only had a great weekend with his 5 RBI weekend, we saw him in this series against the Braves. Obviously, Thursday, he wins the game with the go-ahead 2-run homer. We saw it again with the walk-off. That's his 4th walk-off. That walk-off single puts him in some history of his own. So there are 3 other Phillies that Nick Castellanos joins in company for having 4 walk-off hits in a single season since 1920 when RBIs became official. Do you want to guess or do you want to just read the list?
He became the 4th?
He became the 4th. There are 3 others. There are 4 for 4 that have 4 walk-off hits in a single season since 1920.
I'm going to go with Mike Lieberthal is one.
No.
Jimmy Rollins.
No, I don't think these are guys are going to like.
So 1920 indicates somebody had to have done it in that time frame.
No, that's just when RBI became official and when they started tracking it, I guess. So
Mike Schmidt.
No, because it's actually not close to 1920.
Okay, just tell me. I got nothing.
Well, there's one in 2021.
Delahanty.
There's one in 2021.
Ed Delahanty.
And we've talked about him on Guess That Swing. I feel like that was a good hint, but only because I know the answer. Big thighs. Big body.
I got nothing.
Gene Segura.
Yeah.
Oh, me and Gene caked up.
I feel like that was a good hint.
I was thinking like old-timey guys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So then in 1970, it was Tony Taylor. In 1985, it was Juan Samuel. In 2021, it was Gene Segura. And Steven actually had him that correct in the chat. Good job. Mickey, it was not Von Hayes. And then Nick Castellanos became the 4th person. So make some history with his 4th walk-off hit of the season. Nick Clutch Castellanos, Nick, Mr. Consistency Castellanos, whatever nickname you want to have for him, BDM, whatever you want to go with. Fantastic to see how he's been able to literally help the Phillies win games. And so I noticed, it felt like this last stretch has been really good for Nick because in the month of August, now that we're into September, guys, in the month of August, Nick was really good. His numbers have continuously been improving as the season's gone on. You look at his numbers in August that he finished with. He had a total of 28 hits in August, 4 of them home runs, 16 RBIs, and he had a 275, 339, 471 split with a .810 OPS. He's had 11 RBIs in the last 8 games. Damn. And most of those games were multi-RBI games for the most part. 2 RBI,
I was down
3
there on
RBI.
Tuesday when he took that same idiot Kenny Powers lookalike deep. Yeah, I mean, he had a tremendous week. And look, he's been a constant for, basically 3 months now when your top 3 guys are still struggling. Castellanos has been huge this year for this team. So much so that his mom, Mrs. Castellanos, was even trolling Braves and Braves fans online. So you always love to see that. But he's been tremendous this year. He's really stepped up. JT's pretty back as well. But, the top 3 guys are struggling still. We know they're playing through some things, but if it's not for Nick and Alec Boehm this year, with Stott's regression and Marsh's like cold 2 months, like you're really kind of grasping at straws. So Nick and Alec Boehm have just been constants and having really good years. What was it? 4 weeks he struggled, maybe 5 weeks. That's
exactly it. So April was the struggle time for Nick Castellanos.
But everybody else was on fire, so it didn't matter.
Exactly. In the month of April, in his 104 at-bats, he had just 7 RBIs. He had 2 home runs, but he also only had 19 hits in that month. And you look at every other month since then, because May was when it started to swing. 15 RBIs in May, 18 in June, 15 in July, 16 in August, already out to 3 in September, and it's September 3rd. So for Nick,
what's the total now on the year?
His total RBIs that he has, he's got 30.
In the 70s? Low 70s?
76.
76.
Yes, 30.
Yeah, I mean, if he can get up, let's say he does 15 this month, he's already got 12 more. If he can get to around 90 RBIs, I mean, you take that. From a guy that's really ideally slotted as your 6th or 7th hitter. That's a really nice year from Nick.
He's off to a fantastic stretch of the season, and honestly right on time because he's been the one that's helping the Phillies win games, helping them keep their lead in the NL East. Obviously, we talked about the importance of this series for playoff implications, and when you now look back, 4-game series, you take 3 of the games. We said they had to at least split, which I know you love, Jamie. But instead,
we have a coward series on our
You win
hand
the series.
here.
And now you're sitting, it's the Phillies and the Brewers that have 81 games that they've won. The Dodgers with 83. You're keeping yourself in that contention, not only to be 7 games ahead of the Braves and 7.5 ahead of the Mets, but now you're still closing in on the Dodgers to stay at the top of the NL overall. So huge weekend for Nick Castellanos. And it was just fun to see because he's been one of the guys that people have really dragged. And there's some others, and we'll get into them as well, but he's been one that people have just been so frustrated with at times, and rightfully so with the slumps that he's been in. But it's great to see him emerging and
I think
being consistent.
he's got like a steady kind of like, you know, when he came here, it's like, I'm paid to swing a baseball bat.
Right.
Like he's very like, I don't want to say un-Philadelphian, but it's like kind of like Cali cool or like Florida surfer bro cool.
Point. Like a bro.
Yeah, like he's very like.
More like a bruh.
Yeah, kind of. He's like a total bruh.
Not a bro.
So his answers sometimes irritate people when he's in a slump.
Yeah.
When he's thriving like this and giving hilarious SportsCenter interviews after the game, and he had one in the locker room last week where the phone was ringing, and he's like, "Hold on, let him get that." You know, like he's very funny.
He's like a dry, sarcastic sense of
very
humor.
Dry.
Yeah.
But he's clearly loved in that locker room. You saw the way the team reacts to him. You see the dancing videos in Red October. He's crucial to the Phillies' success. So highly encouraged by what we're seeing.
He's got some swag too. Like he's a great guy. And some of you really owe him an apology. So we never were ready to run him out of town, but we were frustrated with him because he was the only guy struggling. And now he's been the only guy that's been consistent for the most part. And some other guys, and let's keep with the at-bats. We'll get into pitching and look specifically at Zack Wheeler and Aaron Nola. But I want to just give some flowers to also Edmundo Sosa. You know, you look at his home run that he hit. It went 450 feet. That's the second longest for the Phillies this season. Sosa was a guy that we saw emerge when Trey Turner went down. We've wanted him back this series. You look, game that he's helping you win also. And for him to have these breakout moments where he's having multi RBI days and the only one that's helping you score runs, like this weekend was Edmundo Sosa and Nick Castellanos was the offense. Yeah. Like it was great to see that he was able to have that moment this weekend in a much needed win and a much appreciated moment for Sosa to hit the second longest home run off of Max Fried, and the two longest home runs, which I thought was funny. Fun fact for you guys, both off of Max Fried.
Yeah.
Yes, Trey Turner hit a 459-foot bomb on July 5th, and then Sosa had his against Fried, which was 450 feet. But this is what you need from this group. Those two were great for the offense this past weekend.
Yeah, it was. I don't want to say it was a good time, maybe a convenient time for Bohm to get a little dinged up because he was struggling.
Yeah,
like kind of mentally going through it. When we were down there with the family on Tuesday, you know, his first ground out of the game, he had a very hard helmet toss and a loud expletive. So you could kind of see the frustration with him. You know, I'm sure going back to Kansas City recently in front of friends and family and struggling probably, you know, irritates him. So I think it was just a good time for him to take a couple days, a little bit of a breather. And when you have an Edmundo Sosa that can come in and, you know, give you more than Alex giving you right now, it's a great luxury to have.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice because you did have Alec Bohm, who's been one of the consistent ones, struggling. I know, I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the chat. I have no idea what Hubert and I were talking about. The poo guy? Who's the poo guy?
The poo guy?
I don't know.
So I believe the guy they're talking about, there was a guy who said on social media last night that if Florida State was going to lose to BC.
Yes. He would eat his own poop.
Yeah.
And then he's got some other weird tweets. I don't know what you're talking about, Hubert, but sure, go on.
So it was.
Just ignore him.
I don't know. So it was. It was, I think, on time for Alec Bohm.
Bench piece to have because of this.
Exactly, and I think that with Alec Bohm's struggles, he's one that hasn't been out as much. Like Nick's an everyday guy, but Alec had missed only like one game prior to this injury. Like he has played a lot of games.
Oh, yeah.
And he's also been another guy you can rely on. Obviously, he's been top in the league in RBIs and doubles and hits. He's been really good with his at-bats. So this slump for him, I think with the injury, does allow him to be able to kind of work through, get healthy, reset, get focused, get back feeling good. And then now you have someone like Edmundo Sosa you can rely on to step in with that game Saturday that he had with his home run and 2 RBIs. And he's a great bench piece, as you mentioned, and you need that down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, he can play second, he can play short, he can play third. Some would say he's just never really ordinary. And you know what else isn't ordinary, Renee? That's our friends over at Bet365. And when the moments matter the most, you want to be with Bet365 because it's never ordinary at Bet365. They have over 90 million users worldwide. They have live streams. They cover over 780,000 events each year. They have the best early payout offers in sports. If your team goes up 5 runs in baseball, you'll get paid out as soon as it happens. You don't have to wait for them to crumble and fall apart or, go up even more. You'll get paid out on the spot. It's the same for NFL. And it's NFL kickoff week here in United States of America, and it's such an exciting time. We get Wednesday and Friday and Sunday and Monday. There's games all the time. And right now, if you want to get ready for the season, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets. I only got $150. You're getting $200 when you bet just $5. Use the promo code PHLY365 when you sign up. Just deposit $10 and place a $5 bet to get that $200 in bonus bets. They can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. I spread mine out over a ton of futures bets because I love getting long odds and a full season of enjoyment. And the futures page on Bet365 is phenomenal. They got everything covered. So use that promo code PHLY365 when you sign up. And every day they power up the odds and give you tons of great boosts for a chance to win more. They have over 10,000 boosts every single month. They're nutty with their boosts. They boost specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. Keep an eye out for the custom PHLY bets and boosts and download the Bet365 app. Use promo code PHLY365 when you sign up. Get that $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and older and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Well, you also want to make sure to enjoy all of the moments with a nice, delicious, refreshing Miller Lite, the place that's been giving you quality Miller Lites for decades. And as everything has changed over the years, from technology to our style and swag and fits and everything else that's changed, Miller Lite has stayed the same. And one thing that has not changed about them is the great taste of Miller Lite, making sure you can get great taste with less filling feel, less calories. You don't have to worry about that bloating feel, which I cannot stand when I drink any sort of beer. With Miller Lite, they've been giving you quality since 1975. And you also get the opportunity to now enjoy watching the Phillies as it's football season. College football has already kicked off. The NFL is here, watching games with a nice, refreshing Miller Lite. Maybe you're taking those last trips because, the weather's getting a little bit chillier. You want to get those last trips down to the beach. You can always have a Miller Lite with you wherever you are and make sure you're getting the delicious Miller Lite that gives you the opportunity to make memories, drink good Miller Lite, have fun with your friends, and know that you're going to get less calories while you do it. So you don't have to choose what's best. With Miller Lite, they've got the great taste and they're less filling. It's both. It tastes like Miller time all the time. And to get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, you can visit MillerLite.com/PHLYPhils, or you can find it pretty much anywhere they sell beer. And when you drink Miller Lite, make sure you are celebrating responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories per 12 ounces, fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer. All right, let's move along. We talked a little bit about the offensive production. Let's get into some of the pitching because this past weekend we did also see as the Phillies were able to hold on to their NL East lead. We also got the opportunity to see some phenomenal pitching from Zack Wheeler, starting there with his 100th, which was awesome to see, career win number 100. And Zack Wheeler also able to extend his Cy Young arguments.
Yeah, we really need Chris Sale to hit the skids a little bit here because Zack Wheeler is very deserving. Chris Sale just slightly leads. So it's as Jim told us last week, as a voter, these big September moments, it's unfortunate Sale and Wheeler didn't really get to go off against each other in this series because a head-to-head could have really swayed some voters. Mm-hmm. But Zack Wheeler's performance was ridiculous. That man is worthy of a Cy Young. You just have to hope selfishly because baseball justice says Zack Wheeler should get one in his life. Right. He's been that good. He is a dominant top of the game pitcher. And for Chris Sale and the war criminal Alex Anthopoulos to come out and try and take another one from him. Rude. Not that it's not deserving, but if he has a blow up or two in September in a big game, the Mets are right on their tails now. Mm-hmm. If he can just have that one implosion game, Zach Wheeler can steal this thing. So
yeah,
I really hope he gets it because it means a lot to him. You heard about him probably you heard him after the game talking about it. Like, he wants one, and he's like, having personal goals is not a bad thing. It motivates you to, help your team ultimately, and he wants it, and we want him to get it, and he's got a good shot at it.
Yeah, he pitched 39 innings in the month of August, which is actually the most he's pitched in a month this season. And in that stretch, gave up just 7 earned runs, 3 home runs, and was able to hold the Braves scoreless in the 7 innings he pitched on Saturday. And for Zack, when you look at the numbers, it is so close in the NL Cy Young race right now. As we talk about him and Chris Sale being neck and neck, Zack sitting on a 2.63 ERA with a .98 WHIP in 167 and a third innings. Chris with a 2.58 ERA, a 1.02 WHIP in 153 and 2/3 innings. It's very close. Zack has also had a lot of success over the Braves in general. Mm-hmm. He has a 2.09 ERA. Yeah, a 2.09 ERA as a Philly against the Braves in 103 and 1/3 regular season innings. So, as we talked about it being Nick Castellanos, I saw people in the chat saying Nick Castellanos versus the Braves, or also Zack Wheeler versus the Braves, is phenomenal. You know what you're going to get from him. He has been really good against them outside of opening weekend, which none of the Phillies were. Well, he was good against them opening weekend. The Phillies weren't. And so his ERA was able to drop, which put him even closer in the Cy Young race to Chris Sale. And with that, you want to see him have an opportunity to just continue to showcase what we already know about Zack Wheeler. He's an ace. He's one of the best pitchers in the game. And this race, which is so close in terms of numbers and statistics, now with this being a down the stretch point in the season of the conclusion of the regular season, a great opportunity for Zack to continue to show why he's deserving of it. So it's crazy because we would not have expected coming into the season it to be Zack Wheeler and Chris Sale with all the injuries that have happened, with just all that's changed in general. I don't know that many people would have predicted this, but here we are, September officially, and now you have Zack, and as Rob is saying, yeah, he's in the conversation. We know he's in the conversation, but it's something that Zack was saying, like, it's a personal goal. You want to win the award, but, you're just setting out to do whatever you can to help the team, which obviously. Yeah. But we know we want that award for Zack Wheeler.
Yeah, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that a Cy Young winner is good for a baseball team to have in general. Yeah. Tyler, are we going to get a Chris Sale blow-up? Come on, fingers crossed.
No, I don't think so. I mean, he's pitched really well. And I will say this. There is nothing wrong with wanting to win an award to win personal success.
Of course.
I think you also we all could sit here and say, like, if you pick and one, of course I want the title, right? I think any player wants the title. But
being a Cy Young winner helps you get said title.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Listen, Zack Wheeler's had a great season, and if he wins the Cy Young award, that would be awesome. Chris Sale is a heavy favorite at this point. Excuse me. My expectation is he's probably going to win the award. And that's okay, considering how good he's been all year. He's deserving of winning the award. But I will, if I'm taking one, sure, you go right ahead, Chris. You have that Cy Young. We'll see you in October.
I was going to say, I know that it always comes down to, for me, these are individual awards. These are not team awards. But in my opinion, if your team is the best in baseball, that should also help nudge you. But I get it. It's an individual award. It's not about the team's success. Zack Wheeler has held his opponents to 2 runs or less in 16 of his last 18 starts. And in this stretch also, he's completed 6 innings in 21 of his 27 starts overall this season. He has been a big reason why, when we talk about the Phillies winning games when they had their starting pitcher go 7+ innings, Zack is a big reason behind that. He's one of the guys you can count on to go 6+ innings at least, if not 7 or more. And then also with that number, he's actually tied with Logan Webb of San Francisco for the most outings in the NL this season. He's been great. And to see him be dominant again over the Braves, he's now got a .95 ERA over the Braves in his 3 starts for this season. 20 strikeouts, 0 walks over 19 innings in that stretch. Zack Wheeler's been phenomenal. So he's been great. I know in the chat, Steven Garrison mentioned Nola's also been solid. Yeah, Aaron Nola, we talked about it, of course. He's also been fantastic.
He was great.
You needed that. We already had a chance to dive into that a little bit more. But for Aaron Nola to have an opportunity to kind of get back to his spot of being the guy. 18 quality starts of at least 6 innings pitched with 3 earned runs or less. this season. Aaron Nola, the numbers and the conversation that he's cemented himself into. His 37th career regular season start versus the Braves, the most by any pitcher against them since Major League Baseball realigned back in 94, 2 years after I was born. And in that time, he's been able
you had to throw that in?
Well, I feel like for context, it helps paint a picture. Like, I'm a whole adult, and I was 2 years old when this happened. Okay. So that just shows how long it's been.
Hey, Fit Dad, CEO, what up?
So when you look at it, and for Aaron Nola to now have passed Cole Hamels, Livan Hernandez, Steven Strasburg, like he's the longevity and the durability of him
and that's
has
why you
been
paid
phenomenal.
Him. And like he's kind of similar to Castellanos in the weird public perception world where like people think they're much worse than they actually are. And I think it's probably attitude based. Like Aaron Nola is just kind of like, he's almost like Scotty Scheffler in that like golf and baseball don't define me. Like I'm more than this game. I just happen to be really good at it. Like they have that kind of attitude where Aaron Nola is like very chill. You know, I don't think he gets too stressed out by baseball. It's kind of like not who he is. And I think Castellanos to a degree has that too. But like publicly, people get on them for some reason. Maybe it's because your expectations are so high, because they're paid so much, whatever it is. But they're both very like chill, steady guys that are really, really good. And for whatever reason, the public perception sometimes gets on them. And Aaron Nola showed you this year, this time last year, you know, he kind of turned that corner into serious, it's about to be Red October mode, had a really strong September, really strong playoffs. You're kind of seeing him do the same thing again now. And he's been phenomenal lately.
He has been.
And they need him. They need Ranger, but they definitely need Nola.
And Renee, you brought up a name, Livan Hernandez, we're getting there.
There is.
You brought up a name, Livan Hernandez, who, numerically speaking, isn't in Aaron Nola's category. But the thing about Livan Hernandez is he was a workhorse. He took the ball every start. He had back-to-back seasons where he made 35 starts. He led the league in innings pitched 4 consecutive years.
Did he really?
He did.
Wow.
Aaron Nola is a workhorse. Aaron Nola has an outside shot. My expectation is he will get it probably 4 more starts. If he gets a 5th, you might get there. Has an outside shot at 200 innings pitched again this year. But even if he doesn't get there, he is 4th in innings pitched in Major League Baseball this year. No surprise who's number 1. Logan Webb is like the league's workhorse anymore. Seth Lugo, a little surprising that he's at 2. But Logan Gilbert has been awesome for Seattle. And Aaron Nola's 4 at 172 and a 3rd innings pitched. You know, I know that there is flack on Aaron Nola for gives up a lot of home runs. You know, there's been times this year where like the Pirates game stands out where they stake you a 3-0 lead. You give it right back. They get the lead back. You give it right back. But in the months of August and, you know, in the month of August specifically, but at the back end of July, I think Aaron Nola has gotten better as the year goes on. And that tends to happen with him. But the one thing that you can't deny is he racks up a lot of strikeouts. He's been really good this year in the last month and a half or so.
Yeah.
And he's going to eat you a ton of innings. And Renee, you go back to that stat. What is it? They're like 900 baseball team with 7 innings or more pitched. It's
something like that.
You know what I mean? Like, and he's a guy that can get you 7 on any given start. So
you got 4 in the bullpen that should lock it down for you.
So the workhorse mentality for Aaron Nola is, I think, almost an underrated stat. I mean,
Dombrowski said that's why we paid him. You know, is that durability. You can count on him for 200 innings, and there's not many guys throughout baseball that can do that.
Well, since 2018, Aaron Nola has pitched. He pitched 212 and a half in a third innings, in that season, 202 and a third. This is not, the 2020 season is not included in this list. 180, 205, 193 in the regular season, plus another 48 and 2/3 in the playoffs. And he already on this season is sitting at 172 in a third innings as of September 3rd. Aaron Nola is Mr. Durable. He is somebody that you can count on. And to your point, Jamie, that you bring up about Nick Castellanos, Aaron also has been that guy that's been someone that the fans have been unhappy with. And it's been the ups and downs of Aaron Nola. He does have games. We remember the RAV4 4th inning struggles. We remember just even last season, especially the struggles of Aaron Nola. When he's off, he's off. And it's frustrating because you know what he can do.
Balls,
Right. But I think part of it for him and for Nick is because they are guys that play so much. You know, Nick being an everyday right fielder, Aaron being a on average 200 plus innings guy, you're naturally going to have points of that stretch where you're going to drop and it's going to dip. And then for him to be somebody that you can count on that can get you 6-7 innings with the success this team has had when their starting pitching goes deeper into games, you know, that in itself is value that this team needs. Will he give up a couple runs? Yes, but he's also going to help you win games, and he's going to leave the mound, as he talks about, knowing he set the team up to win. So with him, he gets to start against the Braves. There's some other really crazy stats, and this one I want to share with you guys.
The thing with him is, like, if he can just limit it to solo home runs and not the big back-breaking home runs, because typically a solo home run doesn't kill you.
Exactly.
Right? You can bounce back from that. It's when he gets the guy on first and second and gives up a 3-run shot. That's really kind of the backbreaker.
Well, and the thing is, too, he doesn't walk guys, right? He's walked 43 guys this year. When he gets in trouble, you'll see, like, they just kind of pick and shoot, the single, and then the home run hits, right? So he doesn't walk a ton of guys, so his whip's always low. We're not doing it right now. We're having a conversation. We're not doing it right now. I'll get back to it.
But the people viewing don't know who's talking, Tyler. There he is.
It's me every day.
Yeah, but they want to see your beautiful face. You got a Penn State football show launching today.
It's true.
This is a big Tyler Zulli day.
It's definitely a big Tyler Zulli day.
But his whip's always low because he doesn't walk a lot of guys. So as long as he's keeping the walk rate in check, you're not going to get killed by solo home runs.
Sure. Yeah, and to your point, he still has a 3.29 ERA, a 1.15 whip. He's got 162 Ks on the season. He's 12-6 and has pitched over 172. He's now pitched 172 in the third inning. So I know for everybody in the chat, Ari, what's up? Ari, Fit Dad, Steven, Lawrence, John Peace, K-Red. Like, Aaron Nola is Mr. Durable, and he's a guy you can count on. He's the only other active pitcher that has over 100 games with his current team, or who's won at least 100 current games with their active team. Has won at least 100 games with his current team that's active, along with Clayton Kershaw. There's the words. But I want to give you guys this fun fact before we handle some more business, because Aaron Nola's first start in the majors was August 1st, 2015. His first start against the Braves, excuse me. Now, since that first start against the Braves, August 1st, 2015, do you remember who was on that team? And maybe if you really want to get
2015 Phillies, I try to forget about those days.
Just for context, for how far we have come as a group.
Oh,
August 1st, 2015. Let's just take a trip down memory lane for all the complaints we get.
That's more like a sharp right into a river through the guardrail.
This is a fun trivia.
You ever see the Office episode where the GPS takes him into the water?
Yeah,
that's kind of
that was 2015 Phillies baseball.
Quote unquote fun. I say in air quotes because we've come so far.
This is gonna be so bad.
It is bad.
You have the lineup?
I do have the lineup. I have the starting lineup. I have the Braves lineup also.
So this is on the
and I can't take credit for this because I pulled this from Twitter. I didn't put the person's name down. Apologies. Somebody tweeted this out, so I didn't actually deep dive this starting lineup. But when I saw it, I was like, gotta see this. Gotta talk about it.
Was that Ben Revere?
He's not in the starting lineup.
No.
So was Roman Quinn in center then?
Yeah, was it Roman Quinn? I'm trying to think of leadoff.
Or would it have been Odubel
Michael Franco's batting third or fourth.
Yes, Franco was third.
Was Tommy Joseph at first?
Tojo?
No.
Oh, God.
How about
first base was good. First baseman was
Nick
a good
Williams
guy.
in right field, Aaron Altair in center.
Wow, y'all are all over the place.
So it was...
Well, there was like a really dark 7-year period of
I know.
drag.
The first baseman was a good first baseman. Let's start there. That's a...
At that time or
Ryan Howard.
in his
Ryan
career?
Ryan Howard
was
first
last
base.
year. Okay.
Michael Franco was third base. He was batting third. Howard was fourth.
Cesar Hernandez at second.
Cesar Hernandez was second, batting leadoff.
Which means I guess Freddie Galvis was probably at short.
Probably.
Yes, he was, batting sixth.
Cesar, by the way, I always thought was...
Criminally underrated.
Yeah, kind of.
It was a really good ball player for a while.
Left field.
Don Brown.
Don Brown was in right field, batting fifth.
Oh, wow. I was too early on Nick Williams. Okay. I got to go back in my mind then a little bit. Ben Revere, not center.
No,
we already said him.
Ben Revere.
And it's not Roman Quinn. So
Hunter Pence was gone by then, right?
Odubel.
Batted second. He was in center field. We got two more. Left field and catcher.
Cameron Rupp catch that day?
Cameron Rupp was catcher.
And left field was...
Tyler Goodell.
Wow.
Cody Ashe?
Ashe.
Oh.
So the lineup for the Phillies August 1st, the starting lineup for the Phillies August 1st, 2015 was Cesar Hernandez, Odubel Herrera, Maikel Franco, Ryan Howard, Dom Brown, Freddie Galvis, Cody Ashley, Cameron Rupp, and starting pitcher Aaron Nola. The Braves had in their lineup
man in left field.
Cameron Maybin, Freddie Freeman, Adonis Garcia, Jace Peterson, Andrelton Simmons, Yuri Perez, Matt Whistler, AJ Pierzynski. I mean, it was quite a time.
So, do you guys know the meme where it's like, if they have 1,000 fans, I'm one of them. If they have one fan, it's me. If they have no fans, I'm dead. That's me with Andrelton Simmons.
He set a record for something? Was it an error streak?
He was one of the filthiest, filthiest defenders I've ever seen in my life.
He set something.
He was so gross with the glove, like
he
it was not even funny. Now, he didn't hit a ton, especially towards the end. But, like, Simba was one of the best defensive players I've ever seen.
I think he had, like, it was probably since broken, but I think he, like, tied or beat some, like, errorless streak at shortstop or something.
Good.
He was a wizard. You know who else is a wizard with helping you out of your fall allergies?
Nice.
Well, that's our friends over at Rite Aid. Rite Aid's got everything. I was on the road this weekend with my wife, and we needed something, and we drove by a Rite Aid and just said, yeah, they got it. And right now, fall allergies, windows are starting to go up. The air conditions are starting to go off. There's a crisp in the air. It's football season, and that means fall allergies are here. So not only can you get snacks and other great things that you might need on a road trip from Rite Aid, you can also get relief from fall allergies. Stop by your friendly neighborhood Rite Aid. And if you've been trying stuff and haven't talked to a pharmacist yet, go talk to them, and they'll give you some tips. And this time of year, there's plants like sagebrush and tumbleweed and pigweed. Everybody hates pigweed. Dust mites are in the air. Of course, pet dander and fur. And allergies are going nuts. My eyeballs are starting to feel it. So I got to stop by and talk to them. And they can help you get relief. They can also just give you tips at home, like using a dehumidifier or taking more showers when the pollen count is really high, or maybe wearing a protective mask when you're out gardening or doing yard work. Whatever it is, there's over-the-counter options available for you, and your friendly neighborhood Rite Aid pharmacist will help you find relief. You can get ahead of it too, 1 to 2 weeks before pollen allergies are getting highest. You can try some stuff out. They'll talk you through it. So stop by your friendly neighborhood Rite Aid today and ask how you can help beat fall allergies.
All right, and while we're talking about the fall, this time of year, I love getting a good night's rest when it's that crisp weather and it's so cool outside, and you get in your blankets, under your blankets and sheets, and you just get a nice rest. Well, sometimes you don't get a good night's rest depending on how people are snoring in the house. Well, and at Sleep Healthy PA, they're committed to helping stop the snore. They want to make sure all Philly residents are getting that good night's rest, because this is the time of year, not too hot, not too cold, and you want to make sure you're getting a great night's sleep. And with Sleep Healthy, they're going to find solutions for sleep apnea that will allow you to rest well and improve your health. Because when you have to deal with the clunky CPAP machine, and that machine just is so cumbersome and all these wires and stuff, that's not a great way to sleep. Or if you just have somebody that's loudly snoring throughout the house and it's echoing in the halls, whether it's a relative, a friend that's sleeping over, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you're not dealing with the snoring and you're not being the one that's snoring, keeping everyone up, including yourself. So Dr. Andrew Cohen, who's board certified in dental sleep medicine, and his staff will work with you one-on-one. They'll give you first-class care that will help meet your needs. They want to make sure to take time to speak with you, to have a conversation in a 2-hour initial exam. The first part of that, getting some medical history, getting some background information, doing some information gathering, I should say. And then the second hour of that, taking time to really give you results and recommendations. So today, when you let them know that us at PHLY sent you, you're actually going to get 15% off of your initial work. So when you go in for that 2-hour initial exam, let them know we sent you at PHLY. Get 15% off, and then you can also start to stop the snore. Because if you're experiencing sleep apnea, if you're looking for a custom solution to stop the snore, reach out to Dr. Andrew Cohen at sleephealthypa.com or give them a call at 215-337-2501. And of course, let them know that us at PHLY sent you. All right, before we get into previewing the Toronto series here on PHLY Phillies presented by Bet365, let's finish recapping the last nuggets of information and thoughts from the weekend. And I know. And so
He was
one thing I
okay.
want to
It
talk
wasn't that
about
bad.
is the bullpen is looking like they're also getting back to being healthy, getting back to being consistent. We saw the return of Jose Alvarado being back on the roster and reinstated, as Jose did, say he was dealing with family issues, which we already hadn't known. We don't know the extent of it, but glad to see that he's able to get back. And with that, Marte was optioned to Lehigh Valley. And for the bullpen overall, because the starting pitching has been able to get back to 6-7 innings consistently for the most part, you do see the numbers are a lot better of what we've seen. The scoreless streak that we saw, they're having scoreless showings. They're getting saves. You're having, it's not just Weston Wilson with his 0 ERA on the season, by the way. You have your actual bullpen. Carlos Estevez out there giving the Kamehameha, doing his saves. You have Jeff Hoffman now for the season for the pitching for the bullpen numbers. You have Jeff Hoffman with a 1.85 ERA. He's given up 5 home runs, 16 hits. Matt Strahm has a 2.05 ERA. He's given up 12 earned runs with 3 of them homers. Orion Kerkring's got a 2.21 ERA. He's just given up 2. They're back to being what you expect of this group in terms of how they've been showing in the bullpen and how they've been, lights out, getting saves, closing out games. And I love to see Carlos Estevez, especially because he has been one that since coming to the Phillies, the save streak ended. We felt like he hit a little bit of a rut. But that Kamehameha moment, being able to pitch back-to-back scoreless innings was great to see for him. His first as a Philly, his second of this season for Carlos Estevez. And as he said, we don't get cold feet. That's what it looks like. That's what it feels like. We don't get cold feet. He always says the right things. He's so bought in. And I'm like, every time they interview him or we get a quote from him, I like him a little bit more of like a true Philly, bought in, team first, happy to be here type of a
imagine
guy.
coming from the dumpster fire that is the Angels organization and coming into this locker room where Jeff Hoffman, one of your best friends, is.
Yeah.
I think it's easy. I say that because it's a great culture the Phillies have, and it's easy to buy in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you go from the Angels and playing uncompetitive, unserious baseball to now Philadelphia, where the stadium is packed nightly. We want to love you. Where you just close out some games for us, and you'll be a god here. I would imagine this is about as easy to buy into a place as there is in baseball.
Yeah.
It's probably intoxicating when you get into Citizens Bank Park. It's great to see, and this bullpen really has turned the corner and starting to play well again. So they need them. Every team that's going to win a World Series needs a strong bullpen. And TBD on Jose. But you feel he's back. Hopefully the issues are behind him and his family. He did go to Venezuela, and now he's back up. Hopefully he can turn that corner again, because if you have Jose going and you're going with Orion, Strahm, Hoffman, who looks dirty right now, and Estevez, and you throw in Alvarado in that mix to have 5 arms that you can really rely on. The only question is, how do you handle lefties if you've already used Strahm and Alvarado doesn't return?
Right.
But Alvarado has 3 or 4 weeks here to get it right. And call me naive, I have faith he's going to do it.
I do too.
And if that's the case, 5 arms like that, you really should have. This is not the bullpen of last year.
No.
I mean, Craig Kimbrell, Orioles, Twitter, and TikTok is just roasting this guy nightly. They're going
He's been
through
moved
this.
down to a low leverage.
Gregory Soto or Anthony Dominguez, Craig and Kimbrell aren't here anymore. We have an established Orion Kerkering and 4 really good arms aside from him.
Yeah.
So, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the stretch of what we saw in terms of scoreless innings. The top 4, Jeff Hoffman, Orion Kerkering, Matt Strahm, Carlos Estevez, between the Astros series and then into the Braves series, had combined for 13 and a third scoreless innings. That's what you expect from this group, And then they went up to 15 and a third. Like, they just have a nice scoreless stretch. It started with the Astros series. It carried over into the Braves series of having 15 and a third scoreless innings. And that's your top 4 relievers. We're not even mentioning Jose Alvarado. We know that they were overtaxed. I think at the end of the day, you can pinpoint exactly why the bullpen dropped off from being one of the top in baseball to then being awful, giving up runs, giving up home runs too. And they're now able to reset because their starting pitchers are getting back to 6 and 7 innings. So on the injury front, though, that is something that is a concern for me. We've got some positives in terms of returns back, and then we'll get into Bryce as well. But Alec Boehm, as we know, as he was out with that left hand injury, we saw the x-rays came back fine. He's been working back. The inflammation on his left hand's been getting better. He's been getting his treatment. He was available to possibly pinch hit if needed this past weekend. And so he's getting better, but not quite ready to play. They were saying today was going to be the day. So he was at least available if needed this past weekend, but they were pinpointing today as the day that we're going to see the return, possibly, that they were hinting at of Alec Boehm being back. And they said his grip strength is getting better. It's not hurting as much. He's just not ready. He wasn't ready to put a bat in his hand yet. So
honestly, take another day or two.
Yeah,
because we've seen what Bryce Harper's going through.
Yes.
Risks are very important to baseball players. So take an extra day or two. There's no rush right now. After taking 3 or 4 from the Braves, you kind of set yourself up to make moves like this if you need to. So honestly, I'm not saying it for any other reason. Just get your wrist right. Take another day or two off. Edmundo can fill the gap. We talked about him earlier. He's not an everyday player, but in situations like this, you have complete confidence playing him for a week if need be. So
also, you have a week that you can afford to. It's Toronto and it's Miami. I don't want to. You don't want to discredit an opponent, but reality is the reality. You're not playing a top teams this week, so there's no reason to rush him. We talked about it before with Bryce with a hamstring July 9th when he came back versus the Dodgers. Do not rush Alec Boehm back. There's way more value in him taking that extra day. It's been 3 straight games he's missed. Let him sit out again if needed. If the grip isn't there, no need to rush him. And then, as you mentioned, you have Sosa, who's a perfectly fine option. So he's working back from that hand inflammation. On the other side, Spencer Turnbull, who it's a shame, he'd be great to be in that as that 5th starter if he was healthy, but he's not. He is throwing up to 120 feet this week, and he's still working back, but he would be back as a reliever. They just would not have enough time, as we know, to stretch him out as a starter.
They would need to see him before the playoffs to feel confident putting him in any playoff situation.
I know.
I would think at least 10 days. Not as a starter, as a bullpen piece.
Yeah.
Use him in some low leverage spots and some of the to see what he's got. You probably have to see him for at least 10 days, I would think, before you even consider putting him in a playoff appearance. So hopefully he gets up here in the next 10 to 14 days so you can see what he's got and know if he's somebody that can contribute in the playoffs.
Yeah, he'd be a great bullpen piece in the playoffs. If Jose gets back,
if Rangers,
Jose
somebody got
and
rocked.
Spencer Turnbull would be 2 really great pieces to have because you kind of feel good about the top 4. But if you're now able to get Jose back to being what he was before, especially with his ability versus lefties, and then you add Spencer Turnbull into the mix, now you feel really good about this bullpen to have 6 guys you can count on. Of course,
it's a luxury.
That's a great luxury to have. So hopefully he can get back because he was pitching so well. It's a shame that, right now we're not even able to see Spencer Turnbull. And yes, I think we'd all have him in the bullpen over Taijuan Walker. As Stephen Garrett is saying in the chat.
Taijuan will not be on the playoffs.
He will not be out there in the playoffs.
Year 2, no invite for you. Let's see what you like on social media this time, Taijuan.
Unfortunately, we did get the updates from Bryce that he's banged up. His wrist, his hand, elbow, a sore elbow, a sore wrist. He's saying all of it. It's nothing crazy. It's there. It is bothering him, as he's saying. But he's it's bothered him since May, allegedly, as Bryce was saying. And the elbow is more recent, but he's saying he doesn't have a specific play he can think back on that he knows where he hurt it. It's just been sore for a while. He says he doesn't want to have excuses or anything, but he's going to get through it. It will get better, hopefully.
Get that man some HGH.
And it will not be an issue in October, ?
I think it's now 81 at-bats without a home run.
Yeah, it's bad.
So I know he says it's not an excuse for his power outage. But yeah, we need to see some power from Bryce before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Because, he is everything in the Phillies universe. The top 3, Kyle Schwarber has been bad since his multi-home run game where we all thought he was back. I think Rich had in the morning newsletter a 492 OPS, I believe, since that point. Trey, every time you think he's back, he then kind of regresses again and then comes back a little bit. There's just no consistency there. And then Bryce, too. The top 3 really.
That's a concern.
Come on, boys. It's September. We need you. So it's time to start getting it going there a little bit.
It is a concern because right now, love to see Nick Castellanos being Mr. Consistency and Mr. Clutch. Love that Edmundo Sosa is a great bench piece that can fill in wherever necessary. But the offense does still concern me. You look at this series, they literally
Top
won.
three.
It was the pitching, and then it was Nick and Edmundo Sosa that
Nick
won
got
in the
every
game.
RBI on Sunday.
Yes, it was, and Sosa Saturday. Everything that we saw, everything that we saw that helped them win was literally your starting pitching, your bullpen to see, again, we talked about someone like Carlos Estevez to have back-to-back, you pitch 2 innings, you give up 0 hits. That's what helped you win the game to keep the Braves low scoring. That's why they were able to win game 2, 7-2 Friday. But then it was your offense. This offense outside of Nick, outside of even Sosa, you don't really know what you're going to get. And that's very concerning. And also, guys, when you look at recent games, it's been a lot of 3-run games. I mean, we had the 2 games against Kansas City where they scored 11 runs in games 2 and 3. But when you look at from the Braves series, the first time, the second time against the Braves, it's been a lot of 3-run games. Their offense just really hasn't been producing. And that's extremely concerning because it is already September. But it's a new series today. It's a 2-game series against the Blue Jays. Today we get on the start. It's Tyler Phillips versus Chris Bassett. Tyler Phillips gets to call up because, as we also know, with Taiwan moved to the bullpen, they weren't able to actually get Kolby Allard to start until September 10th. So that we knew and anticipated Tyler Phillips was going to be the guy because somebody else had to slide into that starting spot for today. And so we get a chance to see Tyler Phillips on the mound. Now, Phillips has had a pretty rocky and up and down season so far. He's got a 4-1 record. He's got a 5.50 ERA. This is his 7th start. He's a 1.22 whip. He's got 1.8 walks per 9 and 6.8 Ks per 9 through his 36 innings. His last start, he was able to get through just 4 1/3 innings as he gave up 5 earned runs and 9 hits. In that win against the Marlins Wednesday that we remember, he has never faced Toronto, obviously. And on the other side for Bassett, who's making his 28th start, he's got a 1.40 whip, 3.4 walks per 9, 8.8 Ks per 9 through 151 2/3 innings, a 4.27 ERA with a 9-13 record. And his last start was a loss against the Red Sox where he gave up 1 earned run, 5 hits, in a 3-0 loss to the Red Sox. But against the Phillies, 4-0 against the Phillies with a 1.86 ERA.
Oh, great. See, somebody in the chat, Steve Garrison was just like, he owns us.
Yeah,
your numbers are backing that up.
29 innings against the Phillies, giving up just 6 earned runs. He's got a 1 flat whip with an 8.1 Ks per 9 in 5 starts, including a 1.0 with a 2.84 ERA in his 1 start this year. He does own the Phillies to be having a 1.86 ERA. Lovely,
yeah,
right?
I really need Tyler Phillips to go 5 tonight because I don't want to watch Taiwan Walker come into the game in the 3rd or 4th inning. Nobody wants to see a Tyler Phillips Taiwan Walker game, really. So good luck tonight, Tyler. I hope you can get through at least 4 and maybe into the 5th. That would be great. And this is going to be the fluctuating spot here a little bit. They did expand the rosters as well over the weekend. So yeah, I mean, it's probably Tyler Phillips and then Kolby Allard can come back up on the 10th. Or did they expand? Oh, wait, I'm forgetting who they expanded. They brought up Cody Clemens.
And
it's in my notes.
No, it was
Cody Clemens and Tyler Phillips. He's the extra roster
yes.
expansion. So Kolby Allard will be available on the 10th, so he can come back up. Seth Johnson, maybe we see, just had a really nice week down in the minors. So, Tyler Phillips is going to maybe make a start or 2 here, and you just got to hope for the best and hope you don't see. I personally just don't want to see Taiwan Walker really ever again. But a combination of Walker and Phillips could be.
That doesn't make you thrilled for the game?
That's really nasty work, Renee. No, I will be honest. I am not excited to watch that transpire. So let's go, Tyler. We're your biggest fans tonight. Keep us from seeing Taiwan Walker, please.
Is 5 enough?
5, I think, is enough.
Is 5 enough? He goes 5, gives up 3.
The bullpen
3 or less because the offense, that's been.
I think you can live with 4.
If the starting pitcher gives up 3 or less, has been feeling kind of like the sweet spot right now with how.
But
the
you got to
offense
get 5
has been.
innings because then you can bring in Tanner Banks, then you can bring in some other arms depending on the leverage situation before you get to your heavy hitters. But it does feel like the bullpen is nice and as rested as you can be for September. Like they've been able to stagger things because of Wheeler, because of Nola, because of some of these performances you've been getting lately. It feels like you've been able to stagger their workload. So, no, it doesn't feel like anybody's really overworked, per se.
Yeah, and honestly, for Tyler Phillips, when you look at this season, the numbers that he's had, I mean, in July, he was able to get 6 innings a little bit more consistently. Pitched 6 innings twice, and then actually had that the full game that we saw. He was able to pitch 9 innings, I should say, against Cleveland. He's been okay. It's just been in August that he had against Seattle. Ever since Seattle, you lost faith in him, because what we understand is he's not really someone we have a big enough sample size to know whether or not he can maintain this. And to see in 1 2/3 innings against Seattle, as we all remember, the 8 runs he gave up. Ever since then, I'm very weary of like, okay, which Tyler Phillips are we going to get? Are we going to get shutout against Cleveland Tyler Phillips? Are we going to get Seattle giving up 8 runs Tyler Phillips? You just don't know. And then with the offense struggling like they are, that makes me even less confident, because they're not giving run support. They're not helping you out. And you need your pitchers to get out of 5. Honestly, 6 innings is the goal, but for Tyler, we'll say 5, because he's not the top 4.
5 is the goal.
He's not the top 4.
Yeah,
so
yeah. 5 is the goal.
The bar is a little bit lower for him, and the expectations in that sense. So if he can get out of 5 innings and give up less than 3 runs, that should be enough for the Phillies offense to do something. We got Nick Castellanos, so they're, hopefully that's enough.
I giggled there when you were talking, because Tyler put a little something in Slack for me that I'd like to share with the people, Renee, because I made reference to it earlier, and Tyler was working on the fly. I called Grant Holmes from the Braves, the Kenny Powers looking.
So we talked about
it's
this.
It's like a really funny similarity.
Chicago Cubs are tweeting, our CHGO Cubs show was tweeting us, thanking the Phillies for the Braves losses, because they're making the wild card race a little bit tighter. And I think I even tweeted back at them, off of Kenny Powers, no less.
Yes, we talked about this, and you said Grant Holmes, right? I got to add another contender to the mix. So I got 2 guys here. I want you to see who is more,
who looks most like Kenny Powers.
Oh
wow.
Oh, are they brothers? Are they all 3 brothers? It's giving. Who was Tyler's 2 brothers that we said? Him, Zack, and Chris Sale. This is giving the new baseball.
So obviously, this is Grant Holmes on the left. It's Andrew Chafin on the right.
Who's more Kenny Powers? That's tough.
I
would say Chafin, just because it's more like a full goatee than Holmes.
Yeah, and even his face a little bit rounder.
Yeah.
They both have the roundish face.
La Flama Blanca right there. Kenny Powers. I've been meaning to rewatch that series. It's so good. So anyway, just wanted to share Tyler's great artwork.
No, that's good work.
I worked really hard on that. I just want you to know.
Actually, I was gonna say, leave it up. That's really wild how much they look alike. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today we get K-Red saying Holmes wins. Today, let's hope the Phillies win. Keep this going.
I'm not feeling great about tonight, I'll be honest. Tyler Phillips. I feel like we're going to see Taiwan. I don't know.
Oh, no.
I mean, Vlad Guerrero Jr. is playing tremendous baseball. It is what it is. You got Sanchez at home tomorrow. That's great. So, if you split 1-1 with the Blue Jays, so be it. Do you feel good about tonight? Does anybody feel good about Tyler Phillips and possibly Taiwan?
No, not particularly. Well, especially, too, because like you talked about, Chris Bassett's done a really nice job against the Phillies. He throws like 704 different pitches.
Chris Bassett's a guy that I always seem to get in fantasy baseball off the wires. Like, it was like every year for like 6 years. It was him and Frankie Montas were just like the 2 guys I always seem to end up with. So Chris Bassett, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel great about it either. I just hope it's not.
Hopefully, it is the opposite mush there. Cuz 729.
Maybe we're wrong. Yeah. We didn't talk about your boy Ranger, but he's working through it.
I didn't think it was the worst start in the world. I think he just, what was it? The first 3 innings, he was great, and then he just kind of started hanging them over the plate a little bit and missing his spots, and he got crushed. I think he only threw 6 more pitches than he did in his first start.
Yeah, 78
which was
pitches he finished
by
with.
design. I think this next start coming up, they're trying to get him in that 85 to 90 range. So it's a slow build up back. I wouldn't start judging Ranger too critically for probably another 2 starts, 3 starts. And if he's not, turn the corner by late September, then it's a whole other thing to worry about.
Yeah.
Because you need Ranger. He is like the X factor for this team. He makes you in a playoff series, sweat. Because not many teams have great third starters.
And that is more of what I'm looking forward to this week, more than even Tyler Phillips today, is like, what is Ranger Suarez going to look like? Of course, they're slowly increasing his pitch count. And if you can get the top 4 back, then you don't feel as bad about day 5 and whoever's starting. Today, it's Tyler Phillips. Potentially, we could see Taijuan Walker, which is not great. The Phillies are now 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're 3-1 in the last 4. Of course, that's the Braves series. But when you look at the last road series against Kansas City, we know they finished that out with 2 great wins where they scored 11 runs each. And so for the Phillies to have had some bursts of their offense coming through, that's great. So now tonight is another night we get a chance to see what the Phillies can do. And we'll be back live tomorrow. So we have tonight starts at 7:07. We'll be back live tomorrow for a post-game show. So thank you guys for tuning in here to PHLY Phillies podcast presented by Bet365. For Tyler, Jamie, myself, Renee, let's hope the Phillies go out and win tonight. Hopefully tomorrow post-game we're talking about a nice series win over the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll see you guys next time.
We all silly like the mayor.